Good afternoon. It's my opportunity to begin to talk to you about something that's been on my mind. My point today is to talk about how words and labels and things we say about others affects the lives of not only those people we talk about, but it also affects our own personal attitude. As a child, when we're raised up, we are often told sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, that's a good attitude to have, but the reality is that names and labels and harsh words do hurt. They may not injure us physically, but they certainly do emotionally. We've talked a lot about different people who have placed labels and names on different things and how that has had a vast impact on our history. The word slave, the word Jewish, the word simple, the word retarded. Those are all labels that at some time or another, as I remember, they conjured up a thought process, not necessarily positive, and often quite the opposite. In today's society, we have such an opportunity to speak out and publicize the way we feel. And we have a way of doing that, not face to face necessarily, where we might feel the impact of what we say, but media, social media has given us the opportunity to write things about people and say things about people without the reality that it's really going to affect them because they're not right there in front of you. You can't feel or see the emotion that they are feeling or seeing. Our society is continually attacking the self-worth of others. We have forgotten to be kind. We've forgotten to love one another as we want them to love us. Now, I'm not saying that we live in a world where I can't have an opinion and I can't surmise that I don't like something or I don't like someone. But I often remember when I was a parent, I would say to my own children, I love you, but I don't like what you're doing, or I don't like what you've said, or I don't like how you feel. I still loved my child. In today's world, we forget to love one another and go right to the attack. The attacks that people make on others provokes doubt in them. They begin to think, is that true? Is that really what I am? Is that really how I act? Or they feel that the perpetuation of judgment and attack toward them is something that they just can't overcome. It's almost like being in a hole and not being able to get out. I think that when we watch media today, and I've done my share of that lately, when we watch media, we see people acting in a very angry and biased fashion. What they say or what they believe might be their own personal truth, but the way in which they deliver the message is so hateful. I have trouble with that. I have trouble with our children in our world seeing adults behave that way. In my opinion, that simply perpetuates the idea that we live in a society that is not friendly, is not loving, is not safe, but rather always to be on guard that we might be attacked, not only physically, but emotionally. When I was a teacher, I remember thinking often about how my words impacted students. I remember taking a class in gender bias where we were taught that even though we might not even be aware of it, we might think that or say things that would encourage the thought process among the children that boys were stronger than girls. Girls didn't do as well in math. Boys couldn't be good readers. And even though those things were not true, and we didn't mean to share that bias, we subconsciously did it by things that we would say and things that we would do. Therefore, that gender bias affected the performance of our students. Girls began to think they weren't good in math. Boys began to think they were stronger than girls, and so on. I would like us to think as adults about being stronger role models for our children. Yes, because we're older, we have formed opinions, and oftentimes we have a bias. But the way in which we express that to others or not express it to others is very important. Can we first lean on finding something positive rather than seeking out the negative immediately? Can we think about using words that are not as hateful, not as harmful, not as evil as some of the things that I hear adults saying? We're given labels, and the immediate assumption is that if we are X, then we are Y. And that is something that we don't need to perpetuate. We need to perpetuate that each of us is an individual. And no matter what the color of our skin, or our religious beliefs, or our political affiliation, we all have the right to believe and to think something. And we don't have to be attacked with the words and the evil meanings that some of our people are about. It's easy to write things. It's easy to stand in front of a microphone and profess things. And while you're doing that, you're viewed as someone who knows what they're talking about or believes what they're talking about. And the challenge for us, I believe, is to make a point of speaking kindly and judging in a way that doesn't have to hurt or amplify our bias or our prejudice. When I watch things and when I listen to things, I notice that we immediately have an air of anger and hatred in the tone of voice, in what is said, and how it's portrayed or repeated in the media, on TV, on YouTube, on any kind of record. And that hatred is there forever and ever. That's leading to the idea that there's nothing good about another person's opinion. There's nothing good about seeing a difference in opinion. We've forgotten how to debate. Debate used to be a subject that students could take in high school, and the practice of listening and reacting and responding to someone else's opinion, providing facts, altering beliefs because of what you know or what you can prove. Debating was something that we embraced, and we found it to be a rational and worthy skill for young adults. I don't see debates going on anymore. I see accusations. I see labels. I see hatred being spoken by adults in our children's world. I would like you to think about some affirmations that you might want to practice as you begin your day or as you're thinking about how you're reacting. One of your affirmations might be, what's positive about this person? What's positive about their belief? I can see a positive. I can look for positives. And if I don't find them immediately, I can ask questions and I can ask for clarification to help me understand another's point of view. I know this is just my babbling about something that bothers me, but as a grandparent and an older person in our United States of America, I believe that we need to practice the golden rule. I believe we need to love others as we love ourselves. We need to practice humility. We need to practice acceptance. We need to practice tolerance. And we need to practice thinking about what somebody else has to say. So until next time, I would encourage you to live your faith, love others, and love yourself. And until then, consider my point.